Welcome to the Ashes to Wings podcast, where we tell stories of overcomers and give you tips and tricks to living a fuller, more embodied life. Here's your host, Jenny O'Connor.
Hey friends, welcome to Ashes to Wings. Today we'll be talking with Ben Munday. Ben is a resilience coach working with individuals and teams within the field of social impact. Addressing more on the preventative side before dreaded burnout, Ben helps clients acknowledge the complex challenges of modern-day life. And with this awareness, he collaborates with them to build strong foundations and resilience to go on and succeed. Embracing topics from neuroscience, ancestral history, cognitive behavioral therapy, and embodied leadership, this holistic approach educates and empowers clients to be their best and share that with the world. Ben, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you very much. It's lovely to be here with you.
So, Ben, what is a resilience coach?
So, a resilience coach is somebody that helps people build their window of tolerance. This can be really helpful as the world that we're living in is becoming more and more crazy, and to help them prepare for those challenges and also just to strengthen the areas that are needed.
As someone who's suffered from burnout, it's so great that you're working with people before they reach that breaking point. What are some practical tips you give people for avoiding burnout?
Oh, really? There's quite a few. For me, it's all about the energy. It's about understanding where our energy is being depleted, whether that's with time demands or energy demands, task demands. Is that to do with in the workplace, outside the workplace? Is it within relationships? So I help people get really clear on what area of their life is creating those big energy depletions, and then start to look at ways of helping them to combat that energy issue. And that can be done with sleep, regular sleep. It can be done with considerations around exercise, fresh air, being out in nature, even just being with friends and family, with the ones that we love. It can be really regenerative. And then food, and they're the physiological things. And then there's a bit of breathing as well. So it's across the board, but it really comes back to the human.
Yes, and tapping into your body, what your body is feeling, how you can nourish your body.
Absolutely. Yes, nourishing the body. What a nice way of putting it.
So what led you to this field?
It's been a long road. And I think one of the things that really brought me here was when I was younger, about 15, got beaten up down a dark alleyway in my local town. And I knew the kids that did it. And they were at my school when they were in the year above. And the beating itself, I don't remember a huge amount about. I think the brain goes a bit numb, so does the body. But what followed afterwards as the bruises left was the difficult part, the psychological part of being fearful of the people in your school around, allowing myself or being in an open environment that made me vulnerable to being attacked again. And slowly what happened was that as my mind declined, so did my body. And I became so fearful that I actually took the rest of the time off school, the rest of the year. And I just remember the feelings and the intensity that I got from the boys that did this to me, and understood how they made me feel as one human to another. And I realized that I never wanted to impact that on anybody else. I realized after a certain amount of time that it was me that had to change my story and get stronger, and resilience was a way. Not that I knew that at the time, but it's led me down that path.
And you weren't able to help your teen self know this message at the time, but what would you say to a teen who's dealing with bullying right now?
I think the first thing is to normalize the situation and know that you're not alone. Only after many years did I realize how many other of my friends were bullied at different times, whether it was physically or psychologically. So, yes, you're not alone. After that, I think that there's real opportunity to reach out for support. something that I didn't do, sadly. I was too ashamed to talk to someone that I think would have helped, like a parent. Sadly, in my family of boys, cowardness was not seen as, it was a difficult topic, and I felt that's how I felt, which was a shame because that's not what I was. It was just a situation that happens to many people, and I wish I had reached out to someone, even someone maybe of my own age and my own peer group. So I think talking about it is important. That can be difficult too, but trying as hard as you can, finding that energy just to find someone that you feel safe with. That's the best thing. Just get that off your chest, because living with it is the worst.
I think that's one of the many wonderful things to come from movements like the Me Too movement and this push to speak out against abuse and bullying and othering. It's become a more common topic of conversation, and I feel like there's so much more openness to survivors speaking up for themselves and seeking help and normalizing that. And I love that you're doing work along these lines to help others who've experienced this.
Yes. I think that the awareness is much more now. And also there's many more platforms that people can use. Growing up back in the 80s, there was a telephone and that was about it. I had my family, but no one else to really contact. So I felt very alone. So what you mentioned about that awareness and the Me Too movement, and it's not okay for these kind of things, there are opportunities for people to reach out and find that support. And I think that's really helpful. And the world is changing.
Absolutely. Fear is such a powerful force, and it's something that every one of us has experienced at some point. Can you speak more to the physiological effect that fear has on us?
Oh, wow. Yes, the physiological part of fear. Fear is an incredibly interesting thing because it can come in small doses or, world destroying, monumentous flooding amounts. And part of us in our brain, our amygdala, doesn't really know any different. It doesn't know the difference between, the age-old mountain lion chasing us, or our partner shouting at us, or someone running over our foot in the supermarket with a trolley. When the amygdala goes, what happens is that we kind of shut down into our kind of limbic system and into our kind of ancient part of our brain, and we jump into the sympathetic nervous system, and our whole body physiology completely changes. Our heart rate goes up, our temperature goes up, we become much more alert, much more anxious. Our breathing changes, and actually the front part of our brain, the prefrontal cortex, which is the human part of our brain, gets shut down because for the fear point, for the bit that we need to do something, we either need to fight or flight, we need to get moving. And so we can't think straight. We can't plan. We can't really take control of our emotions. So not only is our body kind of amped up, hyper aroused, ready to withdraw or fight back or freeze, which is also, which happens, the point when you're so ramped up that you either can't fight back and you can't flee and you just shut down. We just have to become aware of what that fear is and how best to tackle it.
How would you recommend our listeners handle fear in their own lives?
I think the first thing to do when understanding fear in your own life is to understand the intensity of the fear. If it's a small fear that's not too intense, like going on stage, maybe something around breathing would be best. And we have the ability, we have a kind of an opportunity to increase our breathing with more oxygen coming in and focus on the inhales to kind of build ourselves up the energy, or breathe slowly. So breathing in and then long exhales to really calm our nervous system down. That I would suggest for small fears. For something slightly bigger, then I think it's about making sure that you can create safety within your environment.
Hmm.
So orientation is a really great skill, just to make sure that everything around you feels safe.
And can you explain orientation for our listeners?
Yeah, sure, I'd love to. Orientation is a very lovely skill which just allows us to become conscious of the environment that we're in. And it can start off with just understanding that we are maybe in a room with four walls, a floor, and a ceiling. And then just taking that time through orientation to feel your body in your seat or where you're standing and just orientate yourself around the space. Looking at things, not paying too much attention. Maybe you could even use the task of naming things, seeing the texture, the quality, maybe the shadows, the interplay of composition of items, just to allow the system, the nervous system, just to understand it's in a safe place.
So creating our own safe space.
Yes, exactly that.
Very nice. If we come across someone who's fearful, what methods do you recommend we use to help them feel that safety and acceptance?
One of the ways that you can do that is by using your own body language. Through nonverbal communication, we can really help people regulate. We can smile at them. We can give them the eyes, not darty, threatening eyes, but nice, smiley eyes. We can make our body language open. We can show them the front of our chest and our stomach because that shows our vulnerability. We can also use what mothers would use to their children, is to use softer tones within our voice. If a man speaks like this, it doesn't sound very nice, does it? However, if we start to understand the prosody, the up and down, the vocal tones in our voice, the range that we have, we can start to create an environment to help people feel more safe. Touch is also something. Depending on where you are in the world at the moment, what your regulations and restrictions are, touch can be really helpful, whether it's on the shoulder, on an arm, of course, and just an embrace, just to allow someone to feel seen and heard, and also maybe appreciated. That can also go a long way to help you.
So watching the news, and even just in our personal interactions, it can be overwhelming to realize just how badly humans can treat each other. How do you handle this pain?
For me, I think there has to be, when looking at the outside world, there has to be a level of not watching too much. Now, there is war and famine and terrible things that happen in the world. And I think we have to find a balance between paying attention, playing what part we can, but not letting it consume us. I think can be difficult with the level of platforms, immediate media, hyper-connectedness that we have these days, that we really can be inundated and flooded with negative imagery and very sad stories. So I think there has to be a level of what do you consume and what part can you play in making or trying to make the world a better place. And that can start with very small things. Helping your community, helping your loved ones, helping your family, helping the community, helping an old lady across the street with a bag of groceries.
I'm a big believer in grassroots efforts and paying it forward and affecting people within our inner circle first and then expanding that outward. I really feel like that's the most effective way that we can make a difference.
Yes, absolutely. If everybody could be 5% nicer to all the people that they knew, we'd live in a much nicer world. And I do think that it starts from those kind of grassroots, and it gets in this kind of snowball effect. The pay it forward is such a beautiful thing, or the random acts of kindness.
Mm-hmm.
People just do something. And it's so lovely when, something comes your way and someone's already thought about that and it comes to you and it's like a gift. Very nice indeed.
Yes, that's one of our family's favorite things to do at Christmas time is we'll pick one random act of kindness and an anonymous random act of kindness that we'll do as a family. And it's so much fun. It's so rewarding, and that's one of our favorite Christmas traditions.
Lovely, very nice.
So Ben, with COVID, most of us haven't had a chance to socialize like we're used to. What effect does this have on us?
It's had a big effect on us not being able to socialize. What I mentioned earlier about the social engagement system being so important for us is that we are able to regulate our nervous system from spending time with others. I don't know how you've been during this lockdown and who you have or haven't been able to see, but it's had a real impact, I think, on many people, all people in some way. When we socialize with others and are able to regulate, it allows ourselves just to kind of move into this healing state. So the bit where we're able to rest and digest and be happy and open, share, create, collaborate, laugh, have a great time, and have a separation from the intensity that life at the moment is throwing at us. When we're working long hours, and I said this to a friend the other day, that we seem to be under house arrest. All we can do is work or go to the supermarket so we can keep eating, so we can keep working.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important that we keep our social ties. Even connecting with people over Zoom is something. It's a start. As we mentioned about seeing the eyes, seeing the smile of somebody else, seeing their body language. It just does very good stuff for us and helps us prepare for the difficult things, for the onslaught of life. And certainly within the resilience coaching, it's something that I encourage my clients to do, is to spend time with the ones that they love.
It truly is amazing how complex the human body is.
Yeah, yes, indeed. We have these bodies that are able to touch and run and move and hug each other. We're built to move and to have fun and to explore, to adventure. When we have this body that will allow us to do anything, this supercomputer in our mind and a consciousness to be aware and to plan, I feel like it's a really great trifecta. So I really like to challenge people on when they say they can't do things.
Absolutely. And finding ways to handle stress. I know before I had embodiment tools at my hands, when I would get stressed out, I would just sort of dog paddle emotionally, head just above water, barely surviving, but not truly living. What tips do you have for truly engaging in life?
So we only have one life, and it's all about using this to the best that we possibly can. That's what I like about your show, Ashes to Wings. It gets people to really embrace life and what it is that's there. Now, I think that it starts with what we mentioned about earlier, about consuming and what we're consuming, but also kind of just going back to basics. Life is going to continue to come at us. It's going to throw different things. It's about embracing the good and the bad and having the agility to navigate between those, to explore, to get creative about what it is that makes you passionate, that makes you interested or curious about life. So really just kind of exploring and getting interested, spending time with the ones that you love, and just finding out, working out what's right for you.
Ben, our podcast is called Ashes to Wings, referring to the story of the phoenix transforming and rising from the ashes. I like to ask all of our guests this question: what does rise above mean to you?
Rise above means to go higher than what you thought you could.
Hmm.
We all have thoughts, ideas, behaviors, limitations that we can all surpass. And whether we surprise ourselves or not, living at that higher level, I think, is nourishing to ourselves, but will also do the world a lot of good.
Beautiful. And I always like to leave our listeners with a bumper sticker statement. So, a summary of what you've just talked about that would fit on a bumper sticker. So, what would your bumper sticker be?
I think on the bumper sticker, it would say, life's always going to come at you. You better be prepared for it.
I like that. Well, I have a few rapid fire fun questions for you if you're game.
Sure.
What are you curious about right now?
I am curious about taking up a new hobby.
Hmm.
I'm not sure what that hobby is going to be at the moment, but I want it to be an active hobby that stimulates my mind, even if I don't have to go outside. So I'm wondering if it's an instrument or maybe some sort of painting.
Oh, nice. Very
We'll see.
nice.
I'm not a very good painter, or a musician.
Yet. One day we'll be buying Ben Munday paintings. Who would play you in a movie?
That's an interesting one. Who would I like to play me in a movie? Surely it's Kevin Costner.
Oh, wow. Okay.
An oldie but a goldie.
Yes. What talent would you most like to have?
I think flying a plane.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you thinking like a little biplane or a commercial airliner or any of the above?
I think it'd be a Top Gun style plane.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Have you seen, I know there's places you can go to take lessons and you get to ride in it and do the whole thing.
No, I haven't.
I keep wanting to send my husband on one of those. You get to sit in the back seat and pass out.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yes.
And vomit into your helmet.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
What are your favorite pizza toppings?
It's got to be pepperoni and eggplant.
Eggplant.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm finding out that overseas, you guys have way different pizza toppings than we have here. Somebody the other day was saying sweet corn, and I was like, sweet corn? And yeah, I've not had eggplant on pizza before.
Really? What's your favorite pizza topping?
It kind of depends on which place we're ordering from, because in Chicago, pizza is a religion. So,
Yeah.
if we're ordering for deep dish, it's usually just cheese or cheese and sausage. If it's a regular, sit and watch TV pizza, I like sausage with veggies, certain veggies. I also like Hawaiian pizza, which I know most people think is an abomination, but it is a hill I will die on. Pineapple belongs on pizza.
Live by and die by it. Absolutely. That's the only way.
Yes. So I said I'll have to come overseas when we can travel again and try all these different pizza toppings, because I've never had that. What book belongs on everyone's bookshelf?
American Psycho.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
It's fascinating. And it has taken me to places in reading that I've never gone anywhere else with a book.
Interesting.
Like physically feeling sick and having to get off a train.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is your guilty pleasure song?
Anything by Madonna, The Immaculate Collection.
Yes. Love Madonna.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Ben, I know you have an offer just for Ashes to Wings listeners. Tell us about that.
Yeah, sure. I run coaching packages, whether they're 3 or 6 months, or if you're really game, 12 months. And I'd be happy to work with anybody for 20% off the price of those packages.
So wonderful. So just mention Ashes to Wings when you contact Ben if you'd like to take advantage of that 20% off. And you can find the link for that offer along with Ben's social media links on his guest page on our website. That's ashestowings.net ben-monday, Munday. Make sure you give him a follow. Ben, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you for having me. Thank you for looking after me.
Absolutely. So just to recap our episode, we covered 3 points. Relationships are the most important aspect for keeping us regulated and happy, especially now in COVID. Number 2, we've been blessed with wonderful gifts, the mind and its consciousness, bodies to run, arms to hug, and hearts to love. And number 3, life is not just about coping, but really engaging and getting the most out of it. And Ben's bumper sticker was, life is going to keep coming at you, so you best get prepared. Such a powerful episode that fits so nicely with our values at Ashes to Wings, especially with the focus on relationships and truly engaging in life. I hope this helps you feel a bit more engaged as you go about your day. Don't forget to check out Ben's guest page. Again, that's ashestowings.net/Ben-Monday. Friends, thank you for listening. Don't forget to follow the show, rate, and review. See you next time.
Thanks for listening. The best way to learn is to teach someone else. So take one thing you learned today and share it with a friend. Find Jenny on Instagram at @the_Jenny_O'Connor and online at jennyo'connor.com. Subscribe for new episodes. Until next time, rise above.